Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one, I'm going to try and tackle a question I get asked often. That's almost impossible for me to answer for you. And that question is, should I level this guy or this guy? We're going to try and talk about in this how to make good decisions for building your roster and who you should level. So most of the time when I get asked, let's say, who should I level? Zombie Triple H or Seth, for example. That's an extremely difficult question for me to answer because I don't know your roster, I don't know your play style, I don't know who you have fun playing, and I don't know your trainers and coaches. So when you're thinking about who you're going to level, there are a few things that I think can help you, and I'm going to try and cover my thought process, and hopefully that'll help you guys to make decisions for your roster. Because ultimately, if you ask someone who you should level, X player or Y player, they're going to give you an answer most likely that works for them, also based on their knowledge and experience, which potentially could be more than yours or it could be less. I think, while it is nice to have someone just tell you what to do and not do research or anything into it, I think if you spend a little bit of time looking into the move sets, different ways to play them, watch a few videos, I think you'll be able to figure out on your own and make a lot better decisions. So I'm going to try and give you some tools to help with that. You don't have to do this. I'm not saying this is the right way. There's a lot of different ways to do this. This is just kind of how I tend to approach it. So one of the first things I look at is, will this upgrade make my life easier in the game, right? Like, let's sort by talent right now. And what do I mean when I say that? So what game mode do you struggle in? Do you struggle in men's feud? Do you struggle in ladies feud? Do you struggle in showdown? These are important questions. How are you doing on stipulation? Stipulation tours, I think, are something that a lot of people don't value as much as they maybe should. They can enhance your roster greatly. Here's a perfect example. Look at my entourage for Charlotte. And we have Batista here. Let's put Batista, if we put Batista on Charlotte, I don't know why that's not working. Anyway, if you're feuding, there we go. So he's for stipulation, so he's on Austin. So we'll go to Austin instead, since I started talking about stipulation. We'll go to Mo2 Austin. 40% higher score from stipulation battles. So I'm using Austin a lot. You don't have to, obviously. Let's say you have Shelton and it's Blue Gem Stipulation Day and you score 500,000 from a node. This is going to give you 40% more for your efforts. So you're going to get an additional 200,000 points, probably shoot you way up on the leaderboard because a lot of people don't have these guys leveled, and you're going to get a lot of extra stipulation currency. You might not think that's a big deal necessarily, but there's some pretty big advantages with that. And one of those being in the shop, there's all these different superstars that make your life better. You can see, I check it daily and get the marquee credentials whenever they're on sale. Like there's 2 that happen to be now. So you can pick up those when there's extra. And typically I work on 1 stipulation guy at a time. But if you're able to leaderboard and stuff, you can get extras. You can see I'm almost done with Powerhouse Triple H. And that's up to a 35% higher war score in faction feud on him, which is huge for your feud score. That's having to feud 1/3 less if you have a stipulation promoter for every one. So when I'm talking about making your life easier, those promoters are certainly going to do that. They're going to require less time from you, less effort, and just in general make your play experience a lot better. So those guys are worth going for. So that's kind of part of what I mean when I say, what does it do for your roster? What does it bring to your roster, right? JBL is a good example for me. What does he bring to my roster? It's this kick out. I don't have anyone else that has a low charge kick out that heals them. I can tell you, since I took him 5-star gold, I've played over 30 matches in Showdown, trying to target the best one I could find. Everyone from Mherex to Zombie Triple H, uh, Batista, you name it. I haven't lost a match with him in Showdown, and since I've done that, and for his partner, I run a 900 talent APA Farouk. He's not necessarily fast per se, but what he brings to the table for me is he's completely unkillable pretty much. So whenever I want a guaranteed win, I'll just use him. That's a nice quality of life component for me. I have Steamboat leveled up, and he uses these countdown gems, right? 4 columns at 5-star gold, does 1.3 million damage when they go off. When things go right, I can get it to go 3 times in a turn. When they don't go right, I can usually still get it twice. You can pair it with the finisher if you want finisher damage, or you can do the traditional arm drag with it, which is more consistent but less boom. I run it different ways. But the thing with Steamboat is trainers don't matter necessarily, because you don't need to worry about buffing his gem damage, his move damage. Strap doesn't matter. It just consistently does that damage, and your opponent can't stop that damage. So it doesn't matter if they're running crazy armor moves or that kind of stuff. So he brings something to my roster that's unique there. I mean, on top of being really, really good. Seth is one that people ask me often, why do I like Seth so much? Even if you don't have one gear, and I do have one, but even if you don't have one, what he brings to the table is he gets loaded with a 4 MP move. That's super rare in this game, and if you have his gear, essentially he's loaded for free. You don't need MP trainer at all. No matter what your perks are, he can do Showdown with the Smackdown link and Lawler and be turn 1 all the time as far as starting with this move. And he can feud. He's high move damage and he recycles. If you ever get a blitz with no perks, he can do that no problem. Get started, get going, recycle. Very fast animations, very low charge moves. So he literally can do just about everything in the game except stipulation tours. So that's what he brings to my roster. So the question a lot of times should be not necessarily who you should level, but who's going to make your life easier in the game, and ultimately more fun as well. Because if you're not having fun, you're probably not going to be playing the game. So while it is great to have the most powerful character you can, do keep in mind if you don't like playing it, that's not going to be a lot of fun. Sika is one of the cards I have the most fun with. He's free to play. He's super good. You can run him no MP trainers in feud with the perks we have this month of +1. And you can showdown really well with him. If you have JBL, he's amazing. Ray's the other one. If you don't have JBL, you don't have Rusev, no big deal. I actually substitute a 9k Kane in to get one more blast gem. And if you do have a blue bomber plate, that is a fantastic plate for him, especially if you don't have JBL. So he's a quality of life guy for me in that he doesn't need MP trainers. So guys like that always have a spot on my roster. If you can get away without using an MP trainer, they're going to be huge. Cesaro is another one. What does he bring to my roster? This health steal, right? It's crazy. At 5-star bronze, he's stealing more health than he has. That's super unique. So he can take your best hit, and as long as I can kick out, I'm probably going to end the match full life. Set him up right, and he just keeps going and going and going. And then he's, of course, got the recycling yellow silence build that hits super hard. But what I like about him is the health steal and what he brings there. So that's the kind of stuff I mean when I say quality of life. Otis for the Showboat Marquee Tour, he's the best at it, so he's worth having 5-star bronze just for that. Asuka, not a good fighter, but for my Seth, who I'm using a lot, amazing trainer. So right there, taking her up to 5-star silver is a big quality of life thing for me. Um, so if someone were to ask me, Mherex, should I take up Asuka or should I take up whatever other female acrobat you want to name? Let me sort by class, I guess, so I can come up with another one here. Should I take up Asuka or Bailey? Well, my answer is definitely going to be Bailey's a better fighter, so I'm going to tell you to take up Bailey. But maybe what I didn't know is you had Seth on your roster. You have one gear with Seth, and Asuka becomes simply massive at that point because you can run Asuka and Honky Tonk Man. You can run Asuka and Dean Ambrose for black move damage, and there's a ton of different stuff you can do. But I didn't know that, so I told you to take up Bailey because Bailey's way better at fighting than Asuka, but Asuka would have made a bigger difference for your roster. So try and look at this question, if you can, in this sort of mindset or light. It's not just what how good the card is, but you also need the right trainers, right? So China is one that I get asked a lot about. Should I take China up? Well, China's pretty good, but you'll notice as you get higher, she can always hit below her weight really, really good. She potentially can sometimes run out of steam slightly with people with higher hit points. So you need all the bells and whistles to combat that most often. What I mean by that is you want a black move damage medal, which I do have. It's on someone else right now, I think, on another strap. But I have a tier 4 move percentage that's maxed in takedown. Yeah, it's on Bianca right now. So that's something you'd want with China. And then you're trying to stack as much like move damage. But if you don't have that medal, if you don't have, let's say, Dean, or in particular, I like running triple black and Bray and NWO Ted, and then I stack up on move damage trainers here because I have Hall of Fame Ted and I have Guker, right? So, and even with those rare trainers, once in a while I run out of steam with her. As far as if I try to take on a 5-star silver, because the move damage isn't quite enough. But if I had a tier 5 medal, it would be. So if you ask me, should you level, say, China or maybe Sasha, I think most people are going to say, yes, China's better. But if you don't have a tier, and she is better, if you have all the stuff. But if you don't have a black move damage medal, if you don't have black move damage trainers, all of a sudden China's not nearly as good, and maybe Sasha's better for you right now. So again, different questions, right? Maybe you have everybody you need for Sasha, who's actually pretty solid. Maybe you have you got the strap for her, you got a skill plate that works well with her and stuff like that. And she actually is going to run better for you than China, but I have no way of knowing that. And neither does anyone you ask. And most of the time, they're not going to care enough to look in depth or have the time. In my case, I care, but I don't have enough time to try and help everyone out. So that's why I'm doing this video. Also, you want to take into consideration what MP trainers they're using, right? So if you're going to feud and you're like, okay, I got a striker that I like, I got a powerhouse I like, I have a trickster, etc. But 3 of them use Lawler, and you don't have an affiliation strap at all. You're kind of hosed there. So I do try and look at, okay, if I'm feuding, do I have enough trainers to cover all of these cards? If I have like 3 guys that use blue MP, I don't really want to build a 4th, if that makes sense, because the quality of life is going to have overlap there. It's not going to do a ton for me. Also keeping in mind that with all of your major primary trainers for the cards you're using. Then I try and look at things like era. Do I have decent era coverage for when there are requirements for events, tours, feud, things like that, are all things I try to take into account. And these are things that, if you can, I think will make your game experience a lot better. And finally, fun factor. If I'm not having fun, like Slick Rick is not a terrible card. He's dated now, right? But even when he wasn't dated, I did not like playing Slick Rick and was no fun, and I hate that card. So I would say never touch Slick Rick because he's 0 fun for me to play. There are people that like to play him, and I mean, you can build him and make him certainly usable, There are a lot worse cards, but I have zero interest in ever playing him. So I think it's worth taking that into account. I just have more fun playing any mode when I'm having fun with the character. So like I love playing Seth. So 5-star gold maybe doesn't make sense to a lot of people. His moves don't get better. That's maybe one of those counterproductive or hypocritical things that I say is take someone who clearly gets better at 5-star gold, but the quality of life that he brings and the fact that I have fun playing him, I'll take the extra hit points and be happy with it. Because for sure, Orton's moves get better at 5-star gold. They get way better. Arguably at striker, one of the better ones. Bronze gets substantially better. You could argue Seth doesn't need 5-star gold. But for me, it's a quality of life thing. It's hit points. And it's the fact that I have a ton of fun playing him, so I'll just be able to use him more often. So I take that into account with my choices as well. Alpha's another one that's really fun for me. So regardless if he's turn 2 most of the time, I don't care because he's fun and there are plenty of ways to win and you pick your matches and set them up right. So I guess long story short, guys, the most important things are A, do you like the card and are you having fun? Because it's a game and that's what they're supposed to be. After that, does it make sense for your roster? Is it making your life in the game easier? If you're struggling in Showdown, build a Showdown guy. Go through your roster, find who look like they're good Showdown guys, and ask questions about, is this the best Showdown guy out of these guys? But make sure you have the proper trainers for them. Otherwise, you're not going to get very far. Straps and medals are huge. If you don't have good straps and medals, it doesn't matter what character and trainers you have. You are going to probably not do well with it because straps and medals usually make a bigger difference than coaches and trainers these days most of the time. So try and keep these things in mind, guys. Hopefully this video helped. If I didn't answer specific questions or give you a good idea of how I approach it, let me know in the comments, and I'll see about doing another video or just answering. But hopefully you guys found this helpful. So remember to like, subscribe, and share as that really helps me out. And thanks for watching, guys. Good luck out there.